This is the table read for Bryson Schultz's new C.R.E.W CLANG produced short film Dark. I am Alex Bunsel, the first AD. I'll be reading the stage direction for the script. Starting on my left with Nini, let's go ahead and introduce the cast.
I'm Nini, I'm playing Rick.
I'm Bryson, I'm playing Damon.
I'm Chris, I'm playing Carol.
I'm Caden, I'll be reading for Dark.
Alright, let's get started. Interior storage garage night future. The door of a garage opens. Two detectives enter. Damon, younger, empathetic, and understanding, and Carol, older, stubborn, and hot-headed. They turn on their flashlights to light and approach a tied-up body in the center of the garage. The figure in the chair wears a black, semi-militaristic outfit and spiked mask.
Guess he was right. The man in black does exist.
The mask stands unlively in a dark stagnance. Interior interrogation room present. The room sits cold and bleak with a single chair and table filling the space. Rick, tattered, easily shaken, and desperate, sits the furthest from the door. Damon and Carol interrogate.
Look, you gotta believe me.
So a man in black killed and infiltrated a warehouse full of armed men in an attempt to stop a group of sex traffickers? And he did this all by himself.
Rick sits, waiting for validation. Carol laughs.
You must think we're pretty fucking stupid.
I'm telling the truth. He fucking murdered those people.
Then how come the bullets we found in the victims were from your gun?
Rick struggles to form words as he looks towards the evidence of his gun on the table. Carol sits down.
I know you killed those guys in that warehouse. Honestly, you did us a favor. But you got caught, and there's a crime scene and evidence that I can use to prove it. And I will prove it. Understand?
Door opens. Chief enters.
Carol, step outside.
Carol stares intently on Rick. Rick darts his eyes nervously from Carol's stare. Carol gets up and leaves the room. Damon and Rick sit in the silence.
You don't believe me, do you?
Your story's not great. I mean, a man in a black mask running around and killing bad guys?
What would you do if you were me?
I read this quote once. What we do in the dark reveals the truth about who we are. It means when you're at your lowest point in life, do you let your fear consume you? Or do you take control of it? You're in the dark now. So what are you going to do to get out?
Rick thinks as he musters in his guilt.
Hey, you can trust me.
I helped those guys find those people. Look, I was desperate and I needed the money, but please help me. He knows I was there and I'm afraid he's gonna find me next.
Carol and Chief return to the room.
You're free to go, Mr. Clay. We'll contact you if we have any more questions.
Rick leaves the room and looks back at Damon. Damon matches his eyes. Chief follows Rick out. Carol walks over to Damon.
You say anything while I was gone?
No.
Exterior alleyway, night. Rick is walking on the road home, paranoid.
Just more talk about the man in black.
Rick suddenly stops. Fear fills his eyes as he remembers what happened earlier that night. Interior warehouse, night, past. A quiet, darkened space filled with nothing but ominous blue light is accompanied by screaming and sprays of gunfire. Rick's buried deep into a corner, staring at the shadows and chaotic movement outside the door. The screaming stops. Footsteps and Rick's stuttered breathing are the only sounds left. Rick holds up a gun and follows the shadow coming closer to the doorway. The shadow gets closer and menacingly peeks into the doorway. Rick shuts his eyes. Exterior alleyway, night, present. Rick opens his eyes. Rick hasn't moved in his frightened remembering. Sweating, he feels sick and runs to a corner of the alley to vomit. He wipes his mouth and stands back up, relieved. His expression changes from relief to anxious as he is greeted with a presence behind him. Rick slowly turns to be met by the overbearing of a shadow. Rick shouts a horrid roar that is cut off by pure blackness. Interior storage garage, night. The room is black and lit with sounds of heavy breathing. A light suddenly turns on, revealing bits of junk scattered through the room and providing a spotlight for Rick, who is now tied to a chair. There is duct tape over Rick's mouth and cloth covering his eyes. Rick can just barely peek through the tape to see who he's met by. Dark, the man in black, approaches. Dark has an augmented voice, sounding dark and vengeful.
Glad you could make it, Rick. And to think you were this close to getting away.
Dark rips the tape off of Rick's mouth.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't want to do it, all right? I didn't have a choice.
No! You did have a choice! You could have walked away, but you didn't. And it's too late to take it back.
Rick begins to cry and shiver. Dark hushes him in a calming and condescending way. Dark walks up to Rick and holds a copy of his own mask.
Remember what I told you, Rick. What we do in the dark reveals the truth about who we are.
Rick's head rolls up in realization. Dark pushes the mask towards Rick as it all goes pitch black. The end.
That was good.
Yep.
We can cut it.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.